I am about to ask and try to answer one of the biggest questions facing a college student. How do you succeed at life? In my attempt to answer this, I will be looking at various definitions of success, 2 examples of traditionally successful people, and as well as referencing 2 different authors, Malcolm Gladwell and Dr. Jean Twenge. In order to begin even trying to answer this question, we must first look at the definition of success. Webster's Dictionary defines success as the accomplishment of one's goals or the attainment of wealth, position, honors, etc. This definition would work, but is there any way we can narrow that down even further? Malcolm Gladwell, in his book Outliers, The Story of Success, provides several stories that ultimately define success as having a high-paying, well-thought-of career, such as a lawyer or a CEO. This definition, though, may be a little too narrow for our purposes. If the dictionary definition is too broad, and Malcolm Gladwell's definition is too narrow, then what is success? It's hard to define, but for our purposes, let's go somewhere in the middle. Let's define success as the personal achievement of one's goals and a fulfillment in one's own life, as well as a positive contribution to society. This contribution could be the ability to support oneself, the creation of a network of friends, the creation of a family, and the like. Now that we have defined success, how does one go about becoming successful? To answer this question, let's look at 2 different examples of people who are considered traditionally successful, author J.K. Rowling and actress Lupita Nyong'o. J.K. Rowling was the focus of my last paper. According to her 2007 BBC interview, J.K. Rowling grew up with a far from ideal relationship with her father, a mother with multiple sclerosis, and a dream of becoming a writer. She grew up writing many different short stories, many of which featured her beloved character Rabbit the Rabbit. After a failed 2-year marriage, J.K. Rowling found herself a single mother, living as close to broke as possible without being homeless, and writing the first Harry Potter book. Upon the completion of her manuscript, she was rejected by 12 different publishers until finally, in 1997, Bloomsbury Publishing published her first manuscript, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. 10 years later, the 7th installment was released, completing the series. More than 450 million copies have been sold in over 73 different languages. Today, Rowling is continuing her writing career, saying that she loves it and needs it in her life. Based on this fulfillment of her childhood dreams, it's clear that J.K. Rowling has fulfilled the first half of our definition of success. But what about her positive contribution to society? Well, aside from the many dark themes addressed within her books, which have been almost therapeutic to thousands of readers, J.K. Rowling has also donated millions of pounds to various charities, saying that in her interview that she has never forgotten what it's like to live on little to no money. Shifting gears a bit, let's talk about another person who is considered by many to be successful, actress Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita Nyong'o came up in my research for my first paper and resulting speech on the self-esteem movement. In her book, Generation Me, Dr. Jean Twenge discusses this self-esteem movement, saying that it should be eliminated because of its many negative effects. Among these effects, she lists the lack of motivation among Generation Meers to work hard to achieve their dreams. However, Lupita Nyong'o proves this wrong. Nyong'o was born in Mexico City, Mexico in 1983 to her 2 parents, Dorothy and Peter Anyang Nyong'o. She spent most of her childhood in Kenya and returned to Mexico at age 16 for 7 months. Nyong'o grew up in a middle-class and very artistic family, and she spent a lot of her childhood performing various things, whether it be on stage at her school or on stage for her family at home. Her breakthrough role was in Steve McQueen's 12 Years a Slave, for which she won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in 2014. Once again, we see the first half of our definition of success fulfilled, her accomplishment of her childhood dream and fulfillment within one's own life. Her positive contribution to society? Not only was her role in 12 Years a Slave inspirational, the conclusion of her Oscar acceptance speech was equally so. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this speech that demonstrate her fulfillment in her life and positive contributions to society.
Thank you so much for putting me in this position. It has been the joy of my life. I want to thank my family for your training. When I look down at this golden statue, may it remind me and every little child that no matter where you're from, your dreams are valid. Thank you.
She delivered this inspirational message to all the viewers who were watching the Oscars and inspired countless of them to pursue their dreams. So how did these two women become successes? Well, Malcolm Gladwell quotes neurologist Daniel Levitin in his book Outliers, The Story of Success, as stating the 10,000-hour rule. This rule shows that 10,000 hours of practice is required to achieve the level of mastery associated with being a world-class expert in anything. Rowling has been writing stories ever since she was little. Nyong'o has been performing on stage ever since she could talk. These ladies have clearly put more than 10,000 hours of their lives into their crafts. Within these 10,000 hours, Nyong'o and Rowling also never gave up. Nyong'o performed many roles both onstage and offstage before receiving her breakthrough role in 12 Years a Slave. Rowling was rejected by over 12 different publishing companies before someone finally accepted her manuscript. These two women have shown that an important aspect to succeeding is to never give up. What other advice can we glean from them? Well, ultimately, there is no formula for success and no step-by-step plan on how to achieve it. Really, it's just a matter of following your dreams, working hard to achieve them, and never forgetting where you came from. And finally, always remember the old cliche, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Thank you.
It's the final countdown. The final countdown.
We're still gonna try it one more time. All right.